actually over at the Golden Gate National Cemetery, I think is the name of it, because I'm going to visit my my uncle, Peter, who's buried here. I know my parents did that recently, a couple of months ago, and I did it last time I was in San Francisco. And so I'm gonna go take a look at my Uncle Peter's site and pay some respects. You know, I think it's kind of an odd thing, I suppose someone would be doing on their vacation, but a lot of times I've been wondering what this trip really is supposed to be about. You know, I don't think it was ever really just about kind of enjoying my time after work. I think a lot of this has been a desire for me to, I don't know, I guess, do the things that are meaningful to me that I know that I couldn't get a chance to do at work. And that could be something that's, you know, fun and enjoyable and exciting. That could be doing something that's goofy. That could be doing something that's really sad. It could be doing something that's painful, I suppose. So that's why I'm here. Even though I didn't really know my Uncle Peter, maybe as I'm going over, I'll sort of talk a little bit more about what I at least remember about what people told me about him. So, okay. I know that it's somewhere around here because I remember the last time I was in this area with my grandfather, there were trees that were here. You know, I'm sure this cemetery is like a lot of other cemeteries. Oh, it's in the back. Okay. It's a lot like a lot of other national cemeteries. You see all these perfect headstones everywhere. You can't help but feel sort of somber. I didn't really know him that well, and I guess I wanted to have this, I don't know if this is going to be published publicly, but I wanted to have this as a little bit of a trying to honor him. Before I didn't know him super well because he passed away before I was born. And you know, my understanding, you know, he was one of the older brothers in my father's family, and people, obviously, they all really liked him. A lot of people looked up to him. And the reason why he's in this cemetery is that he was a Vietnam veteran. And I wanted to tell at least a part of his story because it's not something that people really recognize as much. When he was in Vietnam, what I understand is that he did not have a very easy time. You know, who does? But he, unfortunately, besides having to, you know, fight in this war, he was discriminated upon, harassed, all sorts of things by other people on his own side. A lot of, I guess, other sort of similarly ranked GIs would harass him just because of the way he looked, because they thought that he was a member of the Viet Cong or something like that. And I know that he talked about it a little bit while he was alive. One of the things that we, as his family, I think are coming to realize too is how much, that experience affected him. And, even though he didn't pass away during the war, I think he managed to get all the way through it and moved here to San Francisco. He obviously, a lot of those scars were still there. And while I know that whatever it is that he experienced in the war may not have been directly responsible for him passing away, it sounds from what the stories my family tell is that, he didn't get out of the war unscathed. And it's one thing to be, hurt and, brutalized by the other side. I guess it's a whole other thing to when the people that you think are supposed to be on your side are the ones who are abusing you. Not many people, I think, really think that much about how many Asian Americans fought and gave their lives in the wars in America, and we're a very proud family that, we have this Chinese background and that we're also Americans at the same time. I think that it's a misconception that with us as Asian Americans that somehow we haven't had to deal with the hardships of being different. And it's not only is that not true, but it's a story that's even less told than all the other stories about discrimination and hardship. And as much as I really love this country, I think that the difficult thing about living here as one of those types of people is that America always has to have some sort of fight with its own ideals, and it always comes short in some ways. And that it's those of us who are different who end up having to sort of shoulder that burden that for as much as I think the ideals of what America's founded on are beautiful, that even those of us who do give service to the country are not immune to the ugliness inside the country too. My uncle, as far as I know, was physically okay. It's one of these things that I think about as a mental health person, that the scars that sort of heal the least oftentimes are the ones that we don't see. Physical scars are difficult too. Physical wounds are difficult to deal with too, but oftentimes it's the wounds that you can't see that are the hardest to heal, and the ones that damage us the most. And I don't know 100% of the whole sort of story, like I said, but it's something I whoever is that's watching this, I think I want them to realize that there are people out here who go about in the world and they've had things happen to them that maybe they'll never really truly be able to kind of get past. and that causes all sorts of problems in their lives. Sometimes that can kind of cause them to, you know, even hurt themselves, destroy themselves, that kind of thing. And I think that's why even though I don't know my Uncle Peter, that I wanted to come here, is because he deserves the respect and the caring that all of us as his family gave him, and he deserves to be honored in that way, because I think he, like a lot of other veterans, have to make more sacrifices than will ever probably be told, and specifically as a Chinese American veteran, had to take some pretty heavy sacrifices to do his service to the country. I hope that this can be something that we can all recognize, that one person's life deserves to be honored for all the good and the bad in it.